Counselors had to pass an examination in which their past lives were passed in review. We know that in Skull and Bones at Yale, when you do your initiation, you have to lay in a coffin butt naked. And you have to talk about your past lives, and everyone has to hear compromising stories about yourself that you tell other members to protect you from ever getting out of line.
That's right.
You seal your secrets in all the members. So there's a lot of homosexuality going on. I know Erwin France, who's a big-time Boule in Chicago, is big-time homosexual. Big time. Big time. An oath was taken to observe the laws, to give advice according to his best power, and to examine his successors with fairness. Anyway, that's interesting. Let's go back over here a second. We don't want to appear as if we were remaining above the problems of most black people. We know we didn't get here solely by the dint of our own hard work. We owe a lot of people, and we have to give back to our brothers and sisters. So you already know that they say they owe you. Right. Now you just knew who they were, so you could collect. Now the first Boule chapter, oh yeah, bro, we got it all. We got it. They ain't get it. This is from the rostrum of Sigma Pi Phi, and this talks about the date, not the date, but the order. Every chapter is named after a Greek letter of the alphabet. When they finish, they start the alphabet over with alpha. And then, after you run out of alphas, you go into beta alpha and beta beta. Now, seeing that they run out of letters, you think they go get some Kemetic shit or something, you know? Since they ain't got enough Greek letters to hold on. Now, imagine you had an organization in Philly, Chicago, Baltimore, Washington, New York, St. Louis, Kansas City, Detroit, Atlanta, Columbus, Northern New Jersey, Houston, Los Angeles, Minneapolis, Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Pittsburgh, Dayton, Cleveland, Charleston, Nashville, Tuskegee, Louisville, New Orleans, Virginia, Berkeley, Cincinnati, Dallas, Tallahassee, Indianapolis, Oklahoma. You see what I'm saying? These niggas got somebody in every city and they still ain't doing shit for the people. You have no organization in America in that many damn cities. But now you got 3,000 of the wealthiest black men of your race aligned in every city, including Liberia, Monrovia. And don't bust a grape. If one Boule in every one of them cities told on a white man, you'd be in better shape. First chapter was Philadelphia. It started in 1904 in Philadelphia. Second chapter, Chicago. Daniel Hale Williams, first man to do a heart surgery. He was one of the founding members of the Chicago Boule. Percy Julian, T.K. Lawless, many of famous doctors were also Boule members. Third chapter started in Baltimore, the Carey family. Anybody from Baltimore, you know about the Careys and Carringtons. Fourth chapter went to Memphis, Tennessee. Fifth chapter was Washington, D.C. Carter G. Woodson, Ernest Just, Elaine Locke. Carter G. Woodson evolved. He was the Negro before he wrote about the using of the Negro. He wanted revenge. He later wanted to tell about what being a Negro was about. Because the whole thing to the Boule, if you get the tape Black and Jewish Relations, and you should, and different times I mention tapes, you might want to slide to the table and try to grab them, because they ain't going to be there, especially after I finger the tape. In the Black and Jewish Relations, remember we talked about how when the Jewish-Black alliance developed, that it was wealthy Jewish people and college-educated blacks. There were no wealthy blacks. That's right. The first black millionaire was from Memphis, Tennessee, and he got it in 1900, Robert Church. But that was the first black millionaire. And as you can see now, here's Los Angeles. Los Angeles is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14th chapter. LA is the 14th chapter. What do you call that in Greek?
11.
That's Roman. Chi. What do you call this? What? They getting smarter. So that's what the LA chapter was. And as you can see, some of the later chapters coming in, Albany, Georgia, Tyler, Texas. Now they start getting into even the smaller towns. Northern Illinois, Columbus, Georgia, San Jose, California. Let's see, let's look at some other California chapters. So you know people in those cities. There's Pasadena, Sacramento. Let's see here, San Francisco. Any more? There's Monrovia, Liberia, because that's where they went to stop Marcus Garvey. You had to have Boule in Monrovia. You're going to stop Marcus Garvey over there. Boston, Harvard, Lansing, Durham, Toledo, San Diego, Seattle nearby, Oakland, Berkeley, and then Los Angeles. So you can get an idea of what they have. They're now, I think at this time there were about 90 chapters. They're now into the 100th chapter. Their rostrum, we have the list of all of their names. This is what their rostrum says on the inside. This directory has been prepared to serve as an important and useful source of information and data for subordinate boules and for individual archons, and to facilitate the communication processes within the fraternity. It is for the exclusive use of the members of Sigma Pi Phi fraternity, and it is not for public scrutiny. It is not to be duplicated whole or in part for distribution outside the fraternity. Sigma Pi Phi ended 1990 with a total of 3,245 members and 94 subordinate boules. It talks about recent chapters bringing in. So remember, you're hearing not because they wanted to. Somebody says, well, how could they be so bad? They've never been secret. When you can look at their list of names, they tell you. They give every member a list of names. And they tell that member, you better not tell nobody. And this is their directory. This is the names of every Boule member in the country. And if you look at the list, you need to see how thorough this is. This is why they're scared. Every Boule list has their home address on it.
That's right.
Every Boule member.
That was for the king.
We could knock on their door and visit them personally to get a bet. It's Carl T. Rowan. 3116 Benzendine Street, Northwest. Yes, turn it over. Washington, D.C. This is the Washington, D.C. list. There's C. Payne Lucas. He's head of Africare. He was one of them Shaft in that. He was at the Shaft in Africa meeting. The Black Summit, which was financed by the Ford Foundation, which we proved helped kill Malcolm X.
What's his address?
4241 Matheson Drive, Northwest. Here's Vernon Jordan, nigga in the White House. Here's Ron Boule Brown. Oh, he on the other page. Let's see. Yeah, he's on the B's. He's on a page before this. So you can see that the Boule don't want this type of information public because it's all inclusive. So you understand that when we say we're asking them something, you understand how many options we have.
Give us LA.
Give you LA.
Yeah.
As soon as you know why, I'm gonna show you. Show you right. This is the author of the Boule is Charles Wesley. That's another book he wrote. The author of the Boule history book, Charles Wesley, also wrote that book. Anybody ever heard of that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Prince Hall. Show you right. Prince Hall Masons. All right. We need to ask them.
Yeah.
Okay, now. Well, that's all right. That's all right being a Prince Hall Mason. And we ain't got nothing against about being in the Mason order. Just when we ask you a question, we want an answer.
You better get it right with it.
Show you right. Someone asked they want to see Ron Brown's address. There's Ron Brown's address. 2722 Unicorn Lane, Northwest Washington.
2722.
And the secret group that financed the summit in Africa, that's the vice chairman of the International Self-Help Institute, Andrew Brimmer. You saw him on that list. There's Clifford Alexander, former secretary to the Army. You might have remembered him from the Carter administration. Now, there's a series of things I want to lay up here for you. Everybody all right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a little tedious, so you gotta hang with me.
All right.
This our last night.